right, everybody, welcome to the CAIN Stevens Super Show, the super show in all the land. I'm your super host, CAIN Stevens, and I have a super guest with me. I'm super excited about it. I mean, he's a local rapper, soon to be local, maybe even legendary status at some point. We got Jxhnny Bliss with us, so I'm gonna give you the if I have
golf
people,
clap. The
yeah,
golf
yeah.
clap.
I don't want to clap too hard, or my dogs will go nuts, you know.
Right. No, my pups are sleeping out in the living room, so I feel you,
Yeah.
bro. But no, I appreciate you having me on your show, man. It's an honor, man. It's fun to always talk with different people who have interest in music and just being able to share our shared stories and just what inspires
Absolutely.
us to keep us going. So
Yeah.
it's fucking cool, man. So
I mean, I'm also a musician. I've been grinding at it for years. I'm a singer, guitar player, and all that. And
nice.
so I just respect everyone in the craft because I know how hard it is. You know what I mean? Like I know the grind. I know how frustrated we get. Where a guy just wants to quit sometimes. But it's like we
Yeah.
just keep going, bro.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I guess we'll just jump right into it. I've had kind of an issue with writer's block and like just the sparks of feeling creative
Yeah.
for the last probably like done a couple features for people. I've written one song, but in like the last 6 months it's not like panic inducing, but it's almost kind of like what's going on. So like I've been doing a lot of digging on just kind of the foundation, because like you have to have a solid foundation in your life to be able to create. For me at least, I mean, some people I'm sure can create great art out of chaos, but I've got a family and stuff, so like you got to get your own feet under you first before you can start to create. For me at least, I don't want to project or anything, but so I just figured I'd have to get back in the swing of things, get back into the gym, start listening to new music and stuff. I listened to a lot of podcasts over the last several years. A lot of my favorite comedians all have podcasts, and so
Yeah.
I spend a lot of less time listening to music and more listening to podcasts. And now we're about to start our own podcast, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like it's, I guess, as an artist, it's, for me, I don't produce, I don't engineer. My two best friends do that, but they also rap and do other stuff too. So like me, I've only ever been able to rely on my rapping skills to get me there. I'm not good behind a camera. Like I don't know how to video edit, those things. So like I focused on just merely rapping. And
Right.
so now like I have another outlet. So it's less pressure, because the older I get, the more like there's that natural pressure of shit, you got to blow up. You got to make something happen now because you're getting older and blah, blah, blah. When in the grand scheme of things, 2 Chainz didn't blow up till he's in his 40s. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
time is nothing but a human construct. So it really truly means nothing in the grand scheme of things. So, you know what I'm saying? Like animals don't keep track of time.
Right.
It's either daylight or it's night. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
just do. So,
They've got like a body
that whole,
clock, like my dogs will wake up perpetually the same time every day, like they're ready to go
yeah.
out. It's like it is interesting. You were talking about being uninspired. I mean, as a songwriter myself, I go through moments where I'm uninspired for whatever reason.
But yeah.
Maybe I've listened to too many podcasts, and I hate to say that on a podcast, but as a musician, sometimes you've got to, not that we don't
Yep.
have to force ourselves because we love music, but you have to
Right.
be like, I got to push all this media aside and I got to really start to listen to a boatload of music.
Well, because so like me myself, like even when I'm storytelling, I'm a punchline artist. So that's kind of how I think. I think in metaphors, like as blah blah blah. So I started noticing that my brain was creating punchlines for comedy.
Right.
I've always wanted to be a stand-up. Not that I'm the funniest dude on the planet, but like I'm a decent storyteller. Everyone around, not everyone, I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of people say, hey, you should be a comic. You're funny. So like
Yeah.
it's just, my big thing is I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to write a comedy bit. You know what I mean? So like if I could figure out and see it on paper, like, or be walked through with someone who knows what they're doing. Okay, here's how you construct a bit. Here's the meat, potatoes, and here's how you tie it all together. If I could see it, because I'm a visual learner, I could do that.
Right.
But like I started noticing that my brain like that is it started transforming into more comedy punchlines than it is music punchlines, which isn't a bad thing, because me and my friends, we all roast each other and crack a lot of jokes. So we basically have nothing but fun every time we hang out, which is kind of what inspired the podcast, because we have a lot of fun. But we also have a lot of deep talks, and we also learn shit from each other. You know what I'm saying? We're all very open-minded and,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
just curious people. So like it's cool that like now we have this because we just opened up a new studio here in Lincoln, and it's ours. It's us three, me and my producer and my engineer. So like it's just us. So we have that safe space to where like we know how to create with each other. We know how to bring the best out of each other. We know not to, dampen the vibe with personal bullshit that can be left outside, so we can just create. So we just got the flooring and everything set up, and now it's officially done. We just kind of got to do some mic checks and make sure that everything sounds good and blah blah blah, but we got that up and running. So that's a big thing too, because I want to get into doing merch. So I love fashion, so like I have my own Jxhnny Bliss stuff, but this is just like a regular tee. I have a hat and stuff too, but like
Yeah, yeah.
I want to get into other types of stuff, like like cool fashionable jackets and pants and stuff. So like hopefully, I think we have the room, but hopefully we're planning on me getting at least a shirt press to where I can start printing my own merch and helping other people if they have merch and whatever, and just kind of utilizing my creative facets that like I want to do, and I can picture and I can study it. You can just go to YouTube University and figure out how to do all this shit. So like
Exactly.
there's no blockades really. It's just, do you have an interest in this? And I do. So we're just now starting to get the ball rolling on just different endeavors that are all involved with the Jxhnny Bliss entertainment industry, like type thing. So
No, that's great, man. I mean, you got your
yeah.
hands on a lot of things, and that's a lot of musicians are like that. It's the people that baffle me are the ones that will wait. They want to wait for everybody else to do stuff. Like I've never been that way. Like, I mean, I couldn't find a band before. So years ago, I would just start on my own, you know what I mean? Like, and
Mhm.
so it's like you're a driven guy. I can tell just by talking to you now, but tell me what drives you musically. Why did you get into rap? What got you into music in general?
It's actually kind of a cool little story. So I grew up in the rock industry. My dad is a Sparky on 104.1 The Blaze. So I grew up
Nice.
meeting rock stars since I was just a little guy.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be a musician, and I used to play guitar and sing in bands from like 12. I was writing music before that, but like bands were like middle school to like early high school. Then when I got a car, I started hanging out with my friends and playing guitar less, because I would, whenever I was bored, I'd just play my guitar and write songs and stuff. So
Right.
then it got to that point where I was like, well, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends and be dumb and do teenage stuff. So I slowly stopped playing guitar, but I still had these rock star dreams. And then the year after I graduated high school, I was hanging out with someone that I had been friends with for since we were like 7, played baseball together, had been friends for a long time, and he brought me over to his house to hang out, and he showed me 2 songs that he had. Basically, I think one of them was like a cover, like he basically pulled an instrumental off of YouTube and did his own freestyle on top of it. But
Right.
I was blown away by it. I was like, you made this? Like, your voice sounds so cool. Like, you made your own rhymes. Like, I was just
Yeah.
baffled that my homie, who both of us played rock music together, was rapping and he was good. And I was like, dude, you're phenomenal. What the hell? I was like, I want to do this shit. So he helped me with my first, not even a song, like my first like 8 to 12 bars.
Right.
And it wasn't any good. And he was, after it was done, he was like, yo, dude, like, this ain't for you, bro. Like, don't do this. Like, you suck. Like, you're a middle class white kid with a rock background. Like, why the fuck are you rapping? And I was like, well, I'm proud of myself. I think this shit is cool as fuck. And like, I was listening to nothing but rap music. Like, my favorite artist is Lil Wayne, and I was able to deconstruct his bars and his rhyme schemes and stuff. And I could like, when he does his crazy metaphorical verses and stuff, I could break down what he's saying and it made sense. And I'm a creative enough person to where I could make my own little comparisons that maybe weren't as in depth as his, but still I hadn't heard reciprocated in a song, but just make my own little creativeness. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
started with that drive to be as creative as Lil Wayne and think outside of the box with different metaphors and just think differently. Quit, like, if I'm gonna make music, I want to paint a picture for someone with my words. So I want to take my words, paint that visual, have that visual be broken down into words for my audience to basically repaint that same picture, rather than just spill it out and just tell you what it is. I want to create metaphors and create this cool imagery and be vivid, because I I'd like to think I'm a pretty creative person. So like, you know, I just wanted to give people that side of me, and that just kind of drove me to get better and better. So the more that my peers, like, because again, when I started, it was only me. I
Yeah.
had a pretty decent group of friends at the time, a large number, and they all were like, dude, you fucking suck. This is corny. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, all right, me being the underdog that I've always been, I'm, you know, you probably can't tell how tall I am. I'm only 5'6", so I'm a shorter dude.
Yeah.
But I've always been the shortest guy on the field for playing football and baseball and all that shit. But I was always the fastest, always one of the best athletes on the field. So I've always been looked at as like, you can't do that. And then I would prove people wrong. So I've always played the underdog role, which came in perfectly. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show you guys. So slowly I kept getting better and better and better. My songs kept getting better and better. And I was tapping into more of my emotional side and allowing people to see what it's like to live a day in my life, and, you know, just express myself, be able to, you know, truly express myself. Cause I kind of grew up in a household where it was like, you know, suck it up and deal with it.
Right.
And that's not healthy. It's not healthy for coping skills. That's not healthy for communication purposes, especially as you get into an adult and have your own family. You're like, oh, like I have these expectations for my children, but I'm in my 20s, 30s, blah, 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 still doing the same things that I don't want, that I don't find acceptable in my children. So it's like you start peeling back the onion, you know what I mean? And you start kind of dissecting it like that. But, you know, so, but yeah, no, it just, it's just cool to see how far I've come from where I started. Cause it seems like it was just a blink ago, but in the same breath, it seems like it was an entire lifetime ago. Like,
Right.
you know, because back then I used to think that I was really good when I was very underdeveloped. I always had lyrics. I always had good lyrics, but like my flow and how I would structure the song, I kind of just sporadically be everywhere. There was not a smooth flow in sight, you know, what I was learning. But
But you
you know, I
believed
was
in
just
yourself. I
actually
mean, that's
listening.
key, right? You believed in
Yeah, yeah,
yourself the
the
whole
growth.
time.
Yeah, man, it's all about the growth. You know, I was just
Exactly.
listening to a project I made 6 years ago called SINS, which is an acronym for Sorry, I'm Not Sorry.
Hmm.
And some of those songs, I'm like, shit, okay, like this song still holds weight to me. Like this is still a good song. And it brought me back to like my creativeness, because like again, all of my lyrics, I can like, I'm a very visual person. So like as I'm writing it, I can almost kind of see it in my head. So like for instance, when I'm about to start writing, like I'll get an instrumental. The instrumental will give me a vibe, like it'll give me a color vibe. Like I'll
Right.
associate this song or this instrumental with a color, and that color is associated with an emotion. And so like I kind of close my eyes, and it's kind of like the back. It's basically like the song track for like a little mini movie. Like what's gonna happen? What do you see happening
Yeah.
with this? What emotions do you feel? And I almost see the music video before I start writing, and then kind of take what I see and put it into word. And that way my audience can kind of do the same thing, so that way they can understand where I'm going with, you know what I mean?
Right. And that
So
makes sense, man. I mean, I'm kind of the same way, except I don't necessarily always see the video first, but like for me, it's more like a life review. Like I even if things are good for me, I
yeah,
can still think about my entire life and all the things and all the feelings and emotions that I had. And I mean,
right,
and to me, it's easy to put it down. I mean, I just write poetry and and that's all you're doing too. All of it is
yeah,
poetry.
yeah, poetry in motion for sure.
Yeah,
Because
of
I
course,
mean,
man.
I used to write all the time, and like I think what happened is I used to just make songs to make them, because I was just in that experimental process. But then I found my sound, and I figured out what kind of, not necessarily what kind of artist I want to be. I'm not trying to label myself, but like I figured out where I wanted to go imagery wise, like just sound, and just as me being a brand and a product.
Right.
Here's how I'm going to label myself, and I'm going to sell myself with these attributes or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so kind of getting that figured out has kind of allowed me to put more focus on it, because like again, I like to pride myself on having a good sense of humor. So I show that in my music. I'm not afraid anymore to show basically my entire heart on a song. Like it's almost weird that I've become comfortable talking about the uncomfortable things that I've gone through, because I'm a pretty empathetic, empathic person. So
Right.
like emotions run strong with me. So I could associate this with a very traumatic memory or something. And every time I see this or it gets brought up, it's like, boom, that thing's happening again.
Right.
So sometimes I'm almost afraid to like, because I'm in good spirits. I'm in good mental health. I've had my dips and stuff, but like I'm taking good care of myself and like I'm in good mental health. And it's kind of scary for me to kind of go dig on some of that stuff that really haunted me, because I almost relive it. And it's like I have to remind myself that this isn't real. Like you can tap into this side, but you don't got to bring the emotions with it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
you,
Yeah.
so that's the hard part is like I've got a song called Listen that I wrote when I was in a good place. And well, in hindsight, I wasn't in a great place. Because at the time I wrote it, I was like, I'm in a good place. But I was just feeling super dark. Like I felt very betrayed by the ones not even in my present life, from the past, like in basically making me feel insecure about expressing myself for fear of being wrong for just having emotions that might differ from yours.
Right.
Because I was a kid, as a kid, I was a people pleaser. I always wanted to make everyone happy. So if I could apologize and make you smile again, I would, even if I wasn't sorry, even if I didn't do anything, I would just do that to make you feel better. And over time, that shit eats at you. You know what I mean? Like trying to appease everybody just eats at you. So, finally I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not the greatest. I'm a great communicator. Like I'm great with my words. That's what I'm a wordsmith. I pride myself on that. I used to read the dictionary just to study different vocabulary words to figure out how to express myself in different words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but emotions and feelings, like if I'm hurt or betrayed, like it's like, okay, how do I can express it, but it almost goes to anger real quick. So how do I express this in a manner where I know I can get the best reaction out of you? Because I know that if someone blows up at me, they're not going to get the best reaction out of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to like, I'm still working on it, but I feel like I've come a really long way. I'm in therapy, so having a therapist makes a big difference. So realizing that like you don't got it all figured out. Everyone's still kind of learning, no matter how old you are. Just kind of take it day by day, because there's going to be obstacles and you're ahead of you that you don't see. That if you have these high expectations, you have a higher chance of being disappointed. So obviously not all across the board, but if you kind of lower your expectations with shit, you get disappointed less. So it doesn't hurt as much. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you can kind of just focus on the things that need to be focused on and take it day by day, because we honestly may not be here tomorrow.
It's
And that's
so
what's
true.
crazy. It's like,
It can be cliche, but it's the truth, man. You gotta,
yeah,
it's like me, for example, 3 years ago, I have a pacemaker now. I had heart failure. I mean, I still have heart failure, but but I'm on medication. I'm doing better. I almost
right,
died. And so
right.
it's when you face your mortality, you start to see that, man,
Yeah,
like life does go by in the blink of an eye. Like I was working three
yeah,
jobs. I was a musician. I owned my wife and I had a DJ business, so we were like doing karaoke and all these different shows. I was working a
yeah,
full-time job and I just wasn't enjoying life and like enjoying and like really I was drinking too much. How the lifestyle is. I mean, especially as musicians,
yeah,
doing all that. And it's like, man, I really saw it for what it was. But you kind of hit on something that I think everybody should have a therapist. I truly believe that. I
yeah.
think that it should
Yeah.
be a standard, man, just like
Well,
going to
well,
school.
think about this, okay? As a society, as a whole, we haven't been empathetic for all that long.
Right.
And as men, because to create life, you need a man and a woman, right?
Yeah.
So, or at least at some point, you need a man and a woman to create life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So men, like in the past, have been suck it up and fucking deal with it. You're not allowed to show weakness, because emotions are weakness, because women have emotions and they're
Yeah.
weak. They
Yeah,
can't pick up
exactly.
as much crazy heavy shit as we can. So we weren't allowed to be emotional, which we're human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Human beings as a whole have a wide variety of emotions at any given time. And you
exactly.
can't control, typically, I don't think you can't control an emotional reaction to something. You can control your action to that emotional reaction. but you can't control that. So humans as a whole are emotional people. So shutting that down as a child, which generation after generation after generation, as far as you go fucking back, up until whatever. So our parents and our parents' parents, suck it the fuck up. And women, your place is in the fucking kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Women didn't get bank accounts until 1970 without their husband's approval.
Right.
That's wild. That's 53 years ago.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's wild that
Yes.
that's even a thing.
Yes. And as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, most women are better than men as a whole. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I
probably a
couldn't
lot
agree
less
more,
violent.
man. I can't even put together a simple shelf without my one. And I was an electrician for 20 years. I can
Dude,
put
my
together.
girl was an electrician's apprentice. So,
Yeah.
like, she's doing the wiring, not me.
Yeah.
I'll cook. I'll do the laundry. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, so yeah. So as men, we're taught, don't show emotion. And again, that's not across the board. Of course, there's those breakthrough fathers who are like, I don't like that. Even back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, there's those fathers who it's like, your mom wants me to whoop your ass, but you know what? Come here, sit on my lap, buddy. I'm going to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
But when I go out there, I'm going to let, yeah, I gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? There's those fucking 1 in a million dads that were like, this isn't okay. But as a human race, dude, we've been violent for so long. We never used our words. We used our words last. We are a violent breed of people.
Yeah, we are.
It's in our nature. And so some people are more evolved than others, but some people have animalistic fucking senses and urges and can't help but be violent if someone's in their territory. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so
Well, it's
humans
very
are
primal,
emotional.
man. I mean, it's people are like super primal at times. It's like
Yeah, dude.
we really
Yeah.
do kind of revert back to like, I mean, we're just animals, man. That's all we are. We're just animals.
We're animals who can fucking communicate and,
Yeah,
and have empathy and sympathy, or
that's
have the
all we
ability
are,
to
bro. And
have
then
it.
when I look at people, that's all I see. I mean, I love people and I'm empathetic, but I see people when they're acting a fool, and I'm like, man, they're just having the primal urges like coming out of it. It's like oozing out of them, man.
Yeah.
It's a primal
I
society
think
that we
alcohol
live.
brings a lot of that out of people too.
It does.
Yeah, I don't drink at all. I have kidney stones, so I haven't drank in years. I mean, I guess I'm not 100% sober when it comes to alcohol because I will have a drink
Right.
once, and I don't even I almost never finish my drink. It's
Yeah.
a vodka, cranberry vodka. That's it. Cranberry juice and vodka, because cranberry juice is good for your kidneys, and I almost don't ever drink because every time I fucking drink, it's a social occasion. Everyone else is drinking, and I'll drink a little bit of it. My shoulders will get tight
Right.
because I have no tolerance for alcohol, so my shoulders are immediately get tight, and I'll go, well, this fucking sucks, and I'll put
Yeah.
it down. And I go, that's why I don't drink.
Yeah.
So,
Man, I as a lead singer, when I was leading bands and everything, I used to have to tell myself like the only way I can be entertaining is if I get a little bit messed up, you know what I mean? Take some shots before the show. And then pretty soon I'm
yeah,
drinking. But it's
I
like
feel you.
if I were to listen to all those shows, I'll bet I was terrible. You know what I mean? Like I'll bet I was
Oh,
not as good as I
confidence
thought
through
I
the
was.
roof, talent takes a fucking dive.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like
Yeah,
the Family Guy episode, where they're like completely wasted and they think they killed it, and then it like plays it back, and it's like
it's
it's like a
fucking
jumbled
terrible.
mess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've drank before getting on stage. I think I've been buzzed once and it wasn't good because I
yeah,
like this was a couple of years, no, not a couple of years, it's years ago, like earlier on in my career. I used to try and rap fast. So to be able to fucking enunciate everything,
right.
good luck.
It's
So
totally different than rock, man. I mean, rock you
yeah,
can kind of get away with it because it's grimy. It's I mean, you get
more
it's
holding.
sludgy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. If you go look at a 5 minute song, and you look at the lyrics in that 5 minute song, it's like this big.
right.
A lot of it is repeating because
Yeah, there's a
it goes
formula to it.
it goes like 4 bars of lyrics, then it goes back into the instrumental and the hook, 4 bars of lyrics and the hook. So you could write a song real fucking quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Nowadays, it used to be 16-bar verses. Now it's all 12s because people's attention span can't handle 3 16s, which
Their
makes it like a
minds
whole
are
minute
blown by
longer
16.
song. So, even people even do eights, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so the songwriting structure is completely different. So when it comes to rap, you almost have to have more to say unless you space it out and make it work for you. But, you know,
Well, when I first found your music, I was listening to I was pulling up some different things, and there was a thing called the pull up on on YouTube. And
Yeah,
there was a and then I saw you performing. I checked out different musicians, and it was like live in front of the Capitol type setup, you
yep,
know. And
yep.
it was a dope setup. So I was like, that instantly had me in. And then I was listening to one of your songs, Painted Smiles, right? And I just thought it was like I mean, it was just a dope song. Like, I mean, I connected with it because it's like the rap that I grew up liking. It wasn't like I don't have any problem with like current rap, but like
Right,
your delivery and your style is real smooth. You know, the beat was just the type of beat that I'm into,
right.
and so I mean that honestly that hooked me immediately. So I mean, for people
I
watching,
appreciate
listening,
that, man.
if you haven't seen it, I think you should check him out. I mean, you know, you could see the spelling of his name on there. You know, it's Jxhnny Bliss. It's with an X. I like that too because it kind of sets you apart from.
Funny story on that. This dickhead stole my fucking name, bro.
Yeah, that's usually
It
how
used
it
to be
goes.
Johnnny.
Yeah.
And one day, I don't know when this was. This is probably six. No, this is 5 years ago now, because in 2018 I changed my name.
Hmm.
Yeah, so 5 years ago I got tagged on Facebook by hundreds of people. Oh my god, I can't believe Jxhnny Bliss is on The Voice. Oh my god, this is crazy. And I'm like looking, I'm like, I'm not on the fucking Voice. What are you
Right.
talking about? And I think and I go, I rewind back to a conversation I had 2 years prior with this motherfucker named Jxhnny Bliss.
Yeah.
And he added me on Facebook, right? So I seen he had a microphone in his hands in his profile picture. So I'm like, I'm gonna message him. Hey, what's up, man? You make music too? Yeah, I sing. Oh, right on. Is Jxhnny Bliss your real name? No, I just came up with it like
Oh no.
very recently.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Jxhnny Bliss. I've been Jxhnny Bliss for like 5 years at this point. Here's articles and music and also Google me. You'll find me. Because when
Right.
I came up with the name, there wasn't a fucking soul. There was John Bliss from like the 50s who played rugby in Australia. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I had a couple different names that I wanted to go with, but you Google them and it's already taken.
Yep.
So I'm like, boom, Jxhnny Bliss, mine. Look me up. I didn't trademark it because I didn't think about it, but lo and behold, the guy's like, no, I'm not changing my name. Well, he made like Spanish folk music, so not even remotely close to the same whatever.
Right.
Um, so I was like, all right, whatever. You know, fast forward 2 years when I get that fucking notification, I was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now I have no chance. Now I have no choice but to change my name because he's on The View. He's on national TV, and he's even if he doesn't win, because he kept advancing round after round. He got, I don't know if he got to the finals or what, but it was just kind of like, well, now even if he doesn't win, he's probably gonna get signed. He's probably gonna have some type of independent name for himself, or a chance to do something with it. So I was like, you know what? Instead of being salty and changing my name, I'm gonna change the spelling of my name, and I'm gonna take this chance to revamp my image, my sound, and the direction that I'm gonna go.
Right.
Because aesthetically, it looks cooler.
It does.
You know
I
what I'm
like
saying?
it.
It
A lot of
adds
people are
some
doing
gritty
that
and some
anyway. Yeah.
edginess to it. Yeah.
It does. No,
So
man, I'm glad you got to that because I was going to ask you about the spelling so that people know. But I mean that answers the question. That's perfect.
I,
Um,
I was petty as fuck. I messaged him like a couple of years ago, and I was like, "I'm so happy you didn't win, you piece of shit."
yeah.
I don't remember what I said, but I was like, "Fuck you. That's what you get, motherfucker."
You've got like
But in the
voodoo
same breath,
dolls of
it's
him,
like
you know what I mean? Like you're like
I'm
pinning it all the time, hoping for the worst.
I have a little voodoo doll where I'm just stabbing the
Yeah.
fuck out of him.
Well, I did look when I was looking you up, I did see that and I was like, oh, I was like, wait, he was on this, and then I was like, oh wait, it's this guy. So I was like, to me, it was like it made
I'm
sense to
telling
me.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, because I here's what's funny is when I was uploading, like I did like these little not like behind the scenes, but like they're called, like I think they're called Bliss Nation updates. I
Hmm.
did this 7, 8, no, like 9, 10 years ago before I had kids, because I remember my kids' room it was my old studio, and my oldest is almost 9. So
Right.
that long ago, And like, so on my YouTube page throughout the years, I would notice as I'm uploading shit and looking at my page, I'd see some dude sitting in front of a phone playing his acoustic guitar named Jxhnny Bliss. I'm like, what the fuck? With like 5 views on it. And I'm like, whatever. Mine's got a couple hundred, exactly. Whatever. You know, so I was just like, but hats off to him, man. I'm not bitter anymore. I was, but in the same breath, it's like it just motivated me to just be better and try harder to stand out and make things happen. So
right. I think you've done well, man. It looks like you're doing really well as a musician, and especially me sharing local musicians and people from our area. I think it's good to highlight a musician like yourself, who's, I mean, it appears to me by everything. I mean, you're kind of you're kind of doing everything right, is what it looks like to me. You know, by looking at all of it. I mean, I don't know how your shows are going. How do you think things are going for you show wise?
They're as of right now in this very moment, they're going very well. I feel really good about it. If you asked me this 6 months ago, I'd be like, dude, I might hang it up.
Yeah.
But every time I
have that, man, we all have
not because it's crazy. There's 2 different times that I can remember in the last year where I was having a conversation with myself. One of which I was just by myself cruising.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what, dude? I find myself being so envious of everyone else who's dropping these songs and they're doing all this shit. And I'm like, this isn't even fun for me anymore. Right. And I go, I might quit. And I said those words to myself, like out loud in the car. And I started crying, bro. Because I was like, how can I quit? How? Like, I don't think I can ever quit because I've given myself to so many people.
Right.
That not that it's an abundance that I can't count. It's a handful. There's a handful of people who have messaged me throughout my career saying, you've saved my life. Whatever song it was, this song I listened to whenever I was having a really hard time and it got me through that. So I think about every single one of those people, every single person who has taken time out of their day to click, like, comment, share, whatever. But even more so, buy tickets to shows, buy merchandise, bring their friends, introduce me to their friends' friends. Like, they take me in as their own family. Like, great example. A couple months ago, I got asked to do a show for Demon Jones. Mm-hmm. He's a country rapper. Every person in the crowd literally looked like they were there for 100% Garth Brooks show, right?
Right.
So then we show up dressed to the nines, doing us, and they loved us. There's literally that was a couple months ago. I ended up making a good buddy out of it, and out of that show, and he's on paper very different than me, but you know what I'm saying. But we had conversations like they adopted us like family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a super cool experience. So being able to remind myself that, like, yeah, you're in this for yourself, but like, there's kind of a lot of people reliant on you to do something with this. So not only they can brag about you that they knew you and whatever, but so you can continue to keep helping people with this shit, because I've always had like therapist type vibes. Like, I'm always a great listener. My friends always come to me with all of their problems.
Yeah.
And I'm great at providing them with a resolution for their problems, but I'm really bad at taking my own advice, which I'm sure a lot of people deal with. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'll have to run a bunch of my problems by you sometime.
I'm telling you, but yeah, I charge though.
Oh, well, there you go.
But yeah, I got off track. I forgot what I was thinking about, but it'd be like that. But
yeah. Well, you're basically saying, I mean, don't give up, because you don't know.
There you go.
You don't know how it's affecting people. You don't know what you're really doing for people, and that's the thing that we should say to all musicians listening to this and listening.
I have really bad ADHD, so I lose my train of thought.
Oh, you're good, bro.
All the time, and yes, but it's frustrating as shit because I'm super involved in that conversation,
right?
And then my brain goes, hey, what's this? And I go, huh? And then it's like, what the fuck was I just talking about? Right. All the time, dude. I've adapted. But yeah, no, like, so Sorry, my cat and my kitten were wrestling, and my
I know.
cat.
I keep seeing. Like I saw a really big cat. You know, like a Garfield type. Yep, there they are.
I don't know if you
And I
can
saw a
see.
little one.
I don't know if you can see the little one down there or not, but
Oh man,
he
that's
fucking
hilarious.
both arms shoved him with his
Yeah.
front feet as he was sitting up. He literally was sitting on his back and just shoved him off the bed.
I got to shut my dogs out because they want to come in here and act a fool, you know, and then they'll want me to play ball while I'm doing it. And I'm just like, I can't do it, guys. And then they'll start fighting over the ball. So I'm just like, I got to shut them out. I got one that's whining literally right outside the door right now because
Like,
he wants to come in. I know.
I swear I'll be good. I swear.
They love it. I have like a vocal booth that I built in my studio, and the one dog loves it, you know, because there's always I always have like some lights on in there, but it's like super quiet, you know. He goes in there. I put his dog bed in there when nobody's in there, and he just lays down and chills, and that's kind of where he hides. So he's waiting for that.
That's funny.
My wife always jokes that he's trying to cut vocals to, I'm sure, the hardest album that ever went down. All right, so I see that you have a you know, you were showing me the water. You want to show me that again? You said you're buddies with Nick Allen. Nick Allen.
Well, kind of loosely buddies. I mean,
but you know him. You know who he is. I mean, let's talk about Nick Allen, man, because I'm a big fan.
Yeah, dude, he's hilarious. Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I reached out to him just on Facebook Messenger, just something about the show and wanting to book him for something. This was pre-COVID, and then COVID happened, and then I was just kind of like, I just kind of stayed in touch with him periodically because I don't know, I'm able to make him laugh, I guess. So I'm like, he's a comedian. I find him hilarious. Yeah. Like I'm making him laugh. Like cool, whatever. So like, you know, loosely we're buddies or whatever, like acquaintances, I would say. So but yeah, I've gone to a couple of his shows recently, and I'll bring some of my buddies and shit along because I listen to Todd and Tyler all the time. It's funny, they brought me up on the show the other week for a meme that I shared.
Yeah, I saw that, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. But yeah, I just go to his shows anytime they're in town and stuff, or I'll go up to Omaha or whatever. But yeah, he's funny. I kind of got something in the works with him. We don't have anything like dates finalized, but I got something in the works for him to have him work with me on some stuff. So awesome. I can get into that more once we get it finalized or whatever. But yeah,
does your dad like Todd and Tyler? Can I ask that?
Yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I don't think I've ever asked him about it, but I would assume so. I mean,
I think he was bad blood. I always wondered, was there bad blood with like the Animal and those guys? Because I mean, the Animal had a great show.
I think
Todd and Tyler also have a killer show, you know.
Yeah, I think he probably preferred to have, you know, Tim and the Animal and with Johnny Bravo and stuff too. But I mean, dude, will you quit clawing my damn bed? Fucking kitten, dude. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're hilarious. Fuck you up, even though you're cute.
Our animals.
She's like this big, dude.
Is it the gray one? Did I see a gray one on the bed?
You seen a little gray and white cat? Yeah, we just got her a couple weeks ago. She's adorable, but dude, she'll come up and just fuck you up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Start biting the shit out of your hands and shit.
Kittens and puppies are the best that way, you know, like they want to nip at you and do all this crazy stuff, like climb on your damn clothes.
I just cradle her like a baby and just put her right here, and she's just I'm like, well, stop biting me.
I had cats as a kid, but we can't have them. My wife's like deadly allergic to them, so I can't have cats. That sucks because I would have like 20 of them if I could.
Dude, like half of my friends are allergic. Every time we come over, they're like, get the cat away from me, and I like feel bad because I have to like put the cats in my room, and the whole time, especially him, Tuna, he's very vocal. That's the orange one. Yeah, his name's, they got Tuna, Moo is, well, Moo's right there on the ground. Then there's the tiny one right there.
And you have dogs too?
Yeah, I have 2 dogs. Yeah.
Right on, man. What else do you guys have? You guys got a little zoo going on.
We got a zoo, dude. Literally, we have a petting zoo. My oldest has a gecko, and my youngest has a fish. And the fish is a red beta fish, and his name is Ketchup.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you get when the 4-year-old gets to name something. Yeah. He was trying to name the new cat what was it? French Fry.
French Fry.
I'm like, his name is what we dubbed her Melon, which is
the gecko's name Mustard.
Literally. No,
Right.
I think it's Mr. Spots.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a gecko also. They're really cool to watch, but they're really disgusting when they like do the wilting thing, you know? Like
Yeah.
have you witnessed that, you know, where like they got all that
Yeah.
nasty skin coming off of them? It was like when I looked over, I thought it was dying. I was like, what's happening?
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. I was like, oh God.
It horrified me. Their tails can fall off too if they're like unhappy. They can literally their tails can just like come off and then they like regrow.
If they're unhappy,
Yeah.
well, good. He seems to be happy because he's still got his tail.
He's got
So
a big old fat tail. Yeah, same with ours, man. We have like big cichlids. We've always had like massive fish tanks. So we have like a massive Oscar and
see,
another cichlid,
I
and they basically battle it out to the end.
like fish. I like fish tanks. I grew up with fish tanks, and
Yeah.
as a kid, we had dogs. We didn't have any cats in my dad's, but we had two dogs, and then we had a fish tank. But we also what I had was like those albino frogs.
Right.
So you get them when they're like tiny, and
Yeah.
these guys got to like big.
Yeah.
So I always had like 2 or 3 little albino frogs and stuff, and so like I just liked. And we had a koi pond out back, so
Oh,
like
nice. That's like
I'm
my
a
dream.
I'm a Pisces, so I'm a water sign. But like when I tell you I love water, bro, like if I could be in a lake or a pool or the bathtub,
Right.
it don't matter, bro. Put me in some water, and I'm just like,
Feeling
so.
good.
Well, you know what's funny, bro? Is I'll show you this shit real quick. I just made a new little purchase. It's actually pretty fun.
This is nice. This is like Jxhnny Bliss behind the scenes, you know? It's
All right,
cribs.
I just loud. I apologize.
No, you're good, bro.
How do I turn this? And then there it goes. I made this little purchase, bro.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Yeah, dude. It's carbon
Yeah.
fiber and shit, dude. It's
Dude,
it's
that is
dope.
awesome.
It's rad. It's a little mini bike, dude. But like,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's
Yeah, I bet it
right
makes a
now,
lot of noise though, doesn't it?
it goes about 30 right now.
Yeah.
But I ordered some things,
Yeah.
so it's gonna go about 65 now.
Oh
Here
no. Are your
yeah.
neighbors gonna hate you? How loud is
No,
it?
no, he's not. You know why my neighbor's not gonna hate me? Because he's out here working on his.
Yep, I see that. You've got a good
Oh, that's how I can switch back and forth. If I tap my picture, it gets big. If I
Yeah.
tap yours, that's where I fucked up. But yeah, so he's working on his. His goes like 65, 70. So
Oh yeah, those are fun, man.
yeah, well, again, you know how I was telling you about the whole writer's block shit.
Yeah.
I realized that like I go to the gym, like I just started going back to the gym and stuff because like I used to be fucking jacked. Like before I had kids, bro, I was in the gym every day. That's all I did. That's all I did. Party and lift weights. So like I'm used to like being much bigger and shit. So like I'm getting like it's all a matter of like time and schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like you got kids and stuff now, and they require a lot more of your time and your attention, especially if you want them to be good kids. You know what I'm saying? So like your priorities change. So my priority is making sure that my kids are good and putting my own shit on the back burner. But like I'm always been a physical, like outdoorsy, like do sports type person. So going out and riding these at night, it's fun. Like it's freeing. Like, yeah, it's a mini bike. It's not an actual motorcycle. So whatever.
Who cares? It's
But
fun. Yeah, who cares if you like it, right?
I don't own this to be like, I'm going to go fast and look cool. I own this because it's fun to fucking putt around on it.
Mm-hmm.
You take it off-roading and do whatever the hell you want with it. Like I've got plenty of people that I know that have land. I know him, and I know couple other people who have actual mini bikes that go riding them around and shit. So it's like I have places to take it. And so I go down and visit one of my friends who lives in Blue Springs, Missouri, and we go hiking and kayaking.
Uh-oh. We froze.
Gorgeous. There's so many lakes, there's so many trees, there's just the food, like just when I'm going down there and I hit that Missouri border,
right.
It's just like you see the bluffs, you see all the trees, and it's not just fields and flatness. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's beautiful, man.
just the vibe of it's totally different. So I started making it a habit to go out there on a semi-regular basis because that's where I can kind of let loose and have fun. I don't have any responsibilities. The home's taking care of, my kids are, with their mom whenever I leave. So like I go out there and I get to act like an adult child.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, so we had more internet issues. This is the second one in a row. I'm convinced that the government is trying to shut us down because we were talking about the government being lizard people last week and all this. And pretty soon I got all this internet stuff happening. I'm convinced, bro.
Dude, too coincidental. Too coincidental.
Or it's just my crappy internet, like Spectrum hates me and right. I'm tired of paying them. But so I really am sorry about that, man. This is the type of thing you get on a podcast of this caliber. Someday when I have producers and all this stuff, they can handle that. But for now, we gotta keep clicking.
You're much further in the podcast venture than I am. So you are, as far as I'm concerned, you're the pro here to me. So
well, we only had, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm really enjoying this. But I do want to ask you some ridiculous questions, which I generally do ask. And by judging by the way we are talking, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have some good answers. So I'm just gonna blast off into it. All right. Do you think OJ did it, man? Do you think he cut off? Do you think he cut that head off and did all that?
Yes,
absolutely.
You don't write a book hypothetically. Here's what I would have done if I did it.
Right.
And you're not like, bro. Come on. Yes, he did it.
He did it for sure, man. And he had a hell of a lawyer team that got his ass off, didn't he? Man,
the Kardashians, yeah, dude.
Yeah. He had no joke. Johnny Cochran, he's hitting them with all that poetry as a lawyer.
If the glove don't fit, then you must have quit. It's pretty easy to swell a hand and or shrink a leather glove.
Yeah, exactly. But don't you think Johnny Cochran could have dropped the hardest album in the world at that time? I mean, just put a beat behind everything he said.
I'm pretty sure that there is a decent amount of rappers throughout time who have probably sampled things from that to throw them on songs. I would guarantee it.
One could argue that he's their biggest influence. You know what I mean? Like he influenced the rap game now. Johnny Cochran.
We gotta kill these bitches.
Yeah.
And flee in the Bronco.
What wild times, man. But I like asking people that because most people will say, yeah, OJ cut that head off. OJ did this, but sometimes you'll get the occasional, nah, man, he didn't do it. No, he did it. Like
when did that? What year did that happen? What year did that happen? You remember?
OJ. If I had a producer, which I wish I did, I think it was when did OJ kill?
95.
I want to. When did he go to jail? Let's put it that one. No, he went to jail after that.
It's probably.
He was accused. What was he accused of in 94? 94 was all the other stuff. OJ trial. When did OJ's trial happen? That's what I want to know. 1995. Yeah, October 3rd, 1995.
Because I remember seeing it on the news, being a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
I remember that specifically, and my parents talking about it, and being like, "Man, like he probably did that shit."
And watching him flee, with Al Cowlings in the Bronco and everything, it was surreal, man.
Yeah,
it was pretty
wild. I've seen the video as an adult, and I'm like, that's wild, bro.
It is.
Like you're such a big star at the time, like
and
you're just fucking. I'm gonna run down the highway.
Yeah,
not even that fast in a white Bronco.
Man, what an awesome thing to witness, and what an American thing to happen, And then the guy gets away with killing her, like killing her and her boy. Like it's just so nuts, dude. Because he had the money to do it.
Well, yeah, and who writes a book?
Yeah, who writes that ridiculous book? What if I did it?
So what did they say happened? Did they say that someone else broke in and killed him?
Well, they had many speculations on it. I mean, yeah, that's kind of I can't remember what all he said in the book. But I mean, gosh, man, I would assume it's just a playlist of what he did if he were to do it, right? I mean, if I had it in front, I wish I had it in front of me so I didn't sound like a moron. But
no, you're good.
But I
No,
mean,
that's just
it's still wild, man. Well, here I'll hit you with another question though. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm convinced, my mom's big into Bigfoot, right? And all that. And so, I want to believe that Bigfoot exists, but do you believe that Bigfoot's just a cult of really large men in gorilla costumes terrorizing the woods? What do you think?
Yeah, because I listen. My girl gives me a lot of shit. I'm gonna close this garage door. I'm tired of hard, but actually, I'm just going outside. No, this is a lot of Joe Rogan, and my girl gives me a lot of shit about it. She's like, you fucking alpha male, fucking Joe Rogan. Dude, shut the fuck up. Like,
but he's so good, man. He's still good.
He just wants to fucking learn more, bro.
Yeah.
And sure, I don't agree with everything that the dude says, but I also understand he's a comedian.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. That's what he is. He's a podcaster and a comedian. And God forbid a comedian says something that's off the wall or that you don't agree with or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Where are we going with this conversation? See, the ADD kicked in again.
No, you're okay. We're talking about large men and gorilla.
Oh yes, fucking yeah. As far as that goes, there was some sort of like basically like 8-foot orangutan essentially looking animal that was around like 100,000 years ago. So I think it's mostly for folklore, which I would imagine comes from a place of fact. But I think that so you got to imagine, like, if you're going to pass down information over the course of time and it's not in books, you know what I'm saying? So like, you can't just expect a book to last thousands of years without being preserved. So if you want to pass down information, you do it through storytelling,
right?
And you make that story captivating. So if you have to, add things in that may have not happened, like mythologically or whatever, to make it entertaining, to remember it, to pass on the story, that's kind of how this shit happens.
Yeah.
So I believe at one point there was an animal that probably resembled something that we think is Bigfoot. But as far as that goes, no, because there would be a tranquilized one by now. There would be actual physical evidence in some facet, because there's how many Bigfoot shows are there where it's just climax is coming. Oh no, we didn't find Bigfoot again.
Yeah,
we're on season 10
and we still haven't and these are like the leaders in the industry, right?
So yeah, I mean, dude, these guys can't find him. These are the guys who are getting fucking paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Top-notch equipment, sonar, whatever the fuck you use to track Bigfoot.
Right.
And they don't ever find him.
Yeah.
Same thing with a fucking chupacabra. You know what a chupacabra is? It's a fucking coyote with mange.
That's what it is, man. That's exactly
Have you seen a fucking coyote with mange? They look like a different animal.
Yeah, I've actually read about that. You're absolutely 100% right. That's what they are. I swear to you, that's what they are.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. But we want to believe in creatures and stuff. And I mean, trust me, I did a paranormal show. This show can be very paranormal at times. So
it's funny.
We'll swing into that a little bit. Do you believe in ghosts, or do you think it's
100%? 100%.
Have you ever had anything happen? Yep.
Yes.
Is your house haunted now?
Yes. Okay. So, all right. So, how old's my nephew? My nephew's 6. So about 7 years ago, my sister lived. Are you from Lincoln?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So my sister lived on 6th and B.
Okay.
So like, if you do your research, most of those houses are about 100 years old.
Yeah.
It was before Lincoln as a whole was Lincoln, it was a bunch of communities. So like, it was basically like half a mile to a mile was like, there was like Bellevue Street or whatever in Lincoln was like its own little community, and then it basically came Lincoln over time. So
right.
But so that's a really fucking old house, and she had just been moving in, still had stuff in the garage, and I came to go check out her new house. And she has a detached garage. We're hanging out, we're chilling, we're just laughing, blah, blah, blah. She's like, hey, you want to come see my house? And I was like, sure. So we go through the back sliding door. That first room is her room. Then there's a door frame that goes into the kitchen with like beads hanging down from it or whatever. Right. So you go into the kitchen, and then there's the living room into the next room. But like in the kitchen off to the right, there's a doorway here to go down into the basement.
Okay.
So I walk in and I notice that the edge of her house, the edge of the room, the door is salted. And it's salted all the way across the window seals, everything's salted.
No.
And I see sage burning.
Oh no.
What the fuck are you doing, you weird little hippie?
Yeah.
And she's like, dude, you want to see some crazy shit? And I'm like, not really. Like, she's like, dude, you got to check out this basement. It's so fucking scary. And I'm like, okay. So we walk into the kitchen, and for no reason at all, the kitchen's like 20 degrees cooler.
Right.
Maybe it's because it's on the south side. Our room was on the south side of the house, but it was an immediate temperature change as I walked through that threshold. And like the vibe was just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I follow her downstairs, whatever. I have no expectations. I'm expecting to see like a dark room or some. I'm expecting to feel creepy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we walk downstairs, and it opens up into a big room because this is like an older, bigger house. So it opens up into like a big main room, and there's like a room off the main room. So we're walking down the stairs. Like, so here's the basement. We're walking down the stairs. Imagine us looking at a floor plan.
Right.
Come down the stairs. There's a bed here and a bed here and a door here. So there's a bed up against this wall, a bed up against this wall, and you kind of just walk down to go into this door, which is a whole other room. So we walk by, and over here on this wall is those cutout spaces in basements for storage. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
There's
know
two
exactly
of them with like a brick about this big in between. She had a couple cats or whatever. So I'm walking down, and for some reason my head turns to the cutouts or whatever, and I look, and immediately one of her cats, I swear to God, he didn't appear out of nowhere.
Right.
But like I like looked, and he was just there, and he was staring right at me, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like he was just looking dead in my eyes, and I was like,
Yeah.
I felt violated. It was super fucking weird. So we're walking, right? And then I go into that room. So then this opens up into a whole other room. And it's a smaller room. It's probably like a storage room, but then there's one more door in there. And that's the coal chute room where you used to drop coal into this furnace room to heat the house. So you open up this door. Now, mind you, the doors in the basement look like those old farm doors, like slats of wood put together with like just creepy fucking doors.
Mm-hmm.
Like not a door.
Yeah.
Not a door.
No,
but
like the old
a fucking
doors,
creepy, just creepy farm door. So we walk into that small little room, and then she's like, open that door. So I open up the door, and it's, probably as big as my closet. It's probably 5 feet by like 4 or 5 feet, but it is so black. Now, mind you, there's not a lot of light to where we can see, like, there's not a whole bunch of lamps. There's like a fucking pole lamp and whatever. There's not great, there's not a lot of illumination in the room. So it's black. But in the corner, in the bottom right, there's a contrast that's much darker than what I would consider the blackest black you could fucking see, which is coal soot baked onto a wall with no light in it, just black as fuck. But in the bottom corner, there's a contrast between like black, what I think is dark as fuck, and this fucking thing. And I look at her, and she goes, let's get the fuck out of here. And so I'm turning around. And at this point, I go, I'm not going to feed into this too much. I don't want to look like a scared little bitch.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. So I just gently start walking away, right? Well, as we were walking, in the main room of the basement, as we were walking to go into those two rooms, as we walked by, there's a computer open, but like blank screen, just black screen, but just sitting up on one of the beds. I just happened to notice it as I walked by.
Yeah.
As we're walking out of the room, and she's like, because I'm in front of her, she's pushing me, like, go, go, go. We walk past the computer. Screen starts fucking flashing and doing all sorts of weird shit. So then I'm like, this is creepy. Like right now, my hairs are standing up.
I know. I see
that. Telling the fucking story. Then we just haul ass upstairs, right? And we go into the kitchen where it's more calm or whatever. And so here's the layout of the kitchen. Basement doors over here. Her room's doors over here. There's countertops that run along this wall. So I'm up against the counter. She's over here kind of by the fridge. Like the door's over here. She's over here towards the corner of the room. And we're about 8 feet from each other.
Okay.
Talking, it's kind of calmed down or whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking and just kind of joking about how creepy that was and blah, blah, blah. And again, my attention's drawn to the doorway basement, which is on my left, because I'm looking at my sister here. The doorway's over here. And I look, and the moment I look, that same fucking cat is just staring at me like this. But he like, I swear to God, he just appeared. And I like jumped and I looked at my sister, and I swear to God, I seen this little outline of like what I would assume a little girl in a little dress, just standing behind my sister, about 3.5 feet tall. And I blink, and it's gone. And I get white.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm usually, it's the summertime. I'm usually tan as shit. I lose because I'm and like, mind you, my sister has no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Like the cat, I don't even think she paid any attention to me getting startled by the cat, but like, so whatever. But me seeing that and then me going completely pale, and I look at my sister and I'm like stumbling for words. I go, I gotta go. I'll call you in a second.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and as I was like speed walking out of her house, I felt like cold pinpricks on my back, like shoving me out the house. And I audibly said, as I'm leaving the house, I'm fucking leaving. Wave my hands up like I'm fucking gone.
I give up. I'm gone.
My car's parked on the street, and I get into my car, and I'm hysterical. I'm not crying, but there is tears.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the fuck did I just see? And I call my sister, and I'm telling her this, and she's like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy, blah, 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 blah. So my sister called me back later that night, and she goes, you know what, I've been thinking about this. Because my sister's not like a Wiccan.
Right.
She's just kind of studied it as there was a ghost in my first house that I was raised in. There was a ghost that she seen as like a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid. Okay. So she tapped into that side of her long time ago. So she's a lot more familiar with that sort of realm than I am.
Right.
So knowing that it was during the summer solstice, it was during that time, the summer solstice, where I don't know shit about it. I'm just reiterating what I was told from her.
Right.
There's the winter solstice and the summer solstice. The summer solstice is like a week or a weekend or some amount of time to where it allows the good souls to come in and be here and whatever and do their thing. And then the summer solstice or the winter solstice in the dark, when it's winter and cold and everything's dead outside, that's when the negative and blah, blah, blah comes in. So it was during the summer solstice part. And she's convinced that it's a little girl, which because I just seen like an outline of it. Right. She thinks it was the little girl because a couple weeks prior to, because she had been there for maybe like a month, maybe 2 months max, still kind of moving things in the garage, but had everything set up, got to experience the house to learn to salt the bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So she's cutting some vegetables and getting some lunch prepared for her kids, and all of a sudden there's something that pokes her right in the center of her back. She almost fucking cuts her thumb off.
Oh my God.
And she was like, what the fuck? So like, you know what I'm saying? So like she had that happen.
Yeah.
And every morning there would be a little purple. She took a picture of it and showed it to me because she had like thrown it away at this point. But there was a My Little Pony that ended up in the middle of the living room, dead center of the living room every fucking morning.
Wow.
And it would just get because there was a lesbian couple that lived in the basement. There had her son in the house, and this was before she had her 6-year-old son, so she only had one at the time. So like there was other people in the house, and she was like, is this anyone's? I know it's not mine. I know it's not my son's. Is this? No, we don't know where the fuck this came from. So they would just set it in the trash. But every fucking morning it would be in the center of the floor. Man. And like she didn't live there for very long because her oldest son couldn't sleep at night because there was like some crazy shit happening in the house. So she got a hold of her landlord and was like, hey, I know you're going to think that this sounds crazy, but we got to break the lease, and I'll pay for whatever, but we got to break this lease because this house is fucking haunted. And he goes, you know what? You're like the 8th person to say that shit. Like I'm going to fucking tear this house down and start over because I'm tired of having tenants leave because it's haunted or whatever.
Yeah.
But like me, I was fucked up for weeks after that.
I'll bet that was an experience, bro.
Off. Yeah, it was weird because I didn't believe it. I'm like, nope. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'm not gonna lie to myself and say that I seen a fucking ghost.
Yeah.
Nope. And then the more I thought about it, I go, dude, I seen something. I didn't have something in my eye. Like I fucking seen something, like a fucking like almost like a translucent, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
if you were
right.
to put this water bottle in a room that's the same color as the plastic water bottle, you can still see the outline of it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So like I seen
I know
something that's
exactly what you mean.
about right here on her, right over her fucking shoulder, and
Yeah.
some sort of flare out the bottom. So I don't know, but
When
yeah,
we get
fuck
done
with
with
me.
this interview, message me if you will, because she doesn't live there now, right?
No,
She's gone from there. Will you tell me
yeah,
where it is? Because I'm interested to learn about the area.
yeah. It's I know that it's I think it was a yellow house. I don't know if it's I haven't driven by it, but it was on 6th and B. It wasn't directly on the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
6th and B was down here. It was like 2 or 3 houses up on the south side of
Okay.
B Street.
Okay.
So like in between 6th and 7th, there was there's kind of a like there's like you park your cars a little bit of a hill, and then there's a
Right.
set of stairs that goes up, and then you get to the house.
Okay.
And I remember there being a really, really cool Japanese style door knocker that I fucking wanted to steal so bad, but I was like, I'm not taking that juju with me, bro.
No,
No
man.
fucking way.
Well, I've been doing a paranormal investigation like on the side, like with legit like with like legit
Then
instruments and all
we're
that.
gonna need to talk. We're gonna need to talk about this because
Yeah.
me and so my two best friends, Steez and Fig.
Hmm.
Um, Steez is the engineer, Fig's the producer, but we all kind of do the same thing. But we're the ones that are doing the podcast and own the studio and shit. So
Yeah.
we're talking about we basically have Bliss, Fig, and Steez chasing entities.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. So we were wanting to do our own paranormal shit because we all believe, you know, but we want to like learn more, but we don't want to like the apprehension is I don't want to attach anything to myself.
Right.
I have a hard enough time with randomly having negativity thrive inside of me that I don't need added whatever. Like I'm curious, dude, but
Yeah, for sure.
if I have to leave my curiosity to Zach Beggins and you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, fucking
exactly.
Sam and Colby, I
Yeah.
will.
Well, yeah, man, we should set that up, dude. We should all go out together one of these times
We
and
should.
use
I
some of these
definitely.
instruments and really check it
I'll
out,
get
bro.
your phone. I'll get your phone number after this, dude, for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Because I know we have been talking about that because there was somebody that Steve knows that you're supposed to be doing the same thing and kind of helping us and educating us and whatever.
Hmm.
And he's just kind of been absent. Not that we've been like actively, oh, let's go, but
Yeah.
you know, but that would be fucking cool, man. I'd be honored. I'd be honored to
We'll
do that.
set
It'd
it
be
up.
fun.
We'll combine evil forces, you know what I mean? And we'll we'll go out and do our thing. You know, I've got a big you know, every October I do a lot of paranormal stuff, like all the time. But I do a
Mm.
big like Ghosttober type month type deal. So it'd be cool to do something around then, man. You know, maybe have some cross
Yeah,
promotion, all
definitely.
sorts of stuff. That'd be
That would be
cool.
super cool. Yeah, we could do some. We could do like a idea man here. We could do some like main event in October, but we could get familiar with the shit prior to
Yeah.
then. So then when we film and get comfortable, it's not like a what do I do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's a sense of understanding and shit that goes into it. So
Absolutely, man. No, I can't wait. Well, you know, I've taken up, you know, plenty of your time, man, and I so appreciate you doing this interview. I know I'm a
absolutely.
new show, but I mean, we'll have this in front of people, man, and I got some big things coming up, but I
Yeah,
want a guy
man.
like you on this show because I believe in the music and
I
everything.
appreciate
So I
that, dude.
appreciate the art of what you're doing, man. If you want to plug anything real quick, feel free to
Yeah,
do so.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see if I can get into my notes real quick without it affecting the screen. Can you
Yeah, for
still
sure.
see me? Can you see me or no?
I can still see you.
Rad, dude. Okay. Yeah, I got my dates in here. Oh, that's just an empty notepad. There we go. So I got July 28th is a Friday. I have Four Winds, which is a festival in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
Then the following weekend, it'll be a Saturday. I have the Four Winds in Omaha at the Reverb Lounge. And then
Oh, yeah.
September 15th, I'm opening up for Sada Baby here in Lincoln. And then September 30th, I'm opening up for a dude named Demrick in Lincoln here, both at which are at 1867 Bar in Lincoln.
Awesome. That's what's up, man. You're doing
Yeah,
it.
dude. And
Yeah.
hey, real quick, you've given me my flowers, but I want to give you your flowers. you're a great conversationalist. You ask good questions. You seem like a absolute professional and a natural at this. So like growing up as my dad being a personality on the radio and hearing how good he is at what he does and how he can captivate an audience and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been very, critical on myself and stuff. So like hearing you know what you're doing. So hats off to you, man. Keep doing it.
Thank you so much. I feel like a monkey doing anything. Like I tell people that I'm just a monkey doing a podcast right now.